They're very rich works and they're very layered works, and because of that I didn't want to have too tight a hang. You forget that paintings are described as two-dimensional, but they're not. Paintings are just as much objects as sculpture, and they have their own relief, and in your case they have the layers.
There is this sort of compression of time on a flat surface, and which is kind of true about painting anyway, but because of the layering process in my work in general, there's a way in which I've made paintings on many occasions where maybe I'm standing in one place and I'm making a drawing facing north, or maybe a drawing facing south and east and west, and then layering those same studies that I make of those onto one canvas, so it becomes a kind of superposition of different places and times. I think in the time in which we live, in which imagery just promulgates, faster than you can even see it, it's become ever more important to me that the work exists as an object.
There's no such thing as unmediated experience, and in a way painting mediates it. And I see these paintings at one level as a kind of interface between you and reality. The other point is layering obviously implies time.
What's more important to me about the layering is not really the additive, it's the subtractive. There's a real incessant aspect to it. Like, imagine you had like a scab and you kept picking at it. It's like that kind of a thing is going on. It's a way in which it can absorb all the sort of shifts that occur in terms of like mood and opinion and ideas and all of that stuff, and by taking away what's there, it's letting go of the need to hold on to a certain idea.
You come back to it as if you've never seen it before, and that's very important, because it adds richness in terms of accumulation, not just of paint but of ideas. But it also, I think, helps to ensure freshness, because each new layer is a new start, and that to me is very important. But to wrap things up a bit, I'd just like you to tell me a bit more about, in explaining the title of the show, which at first puzzled me.
I extracted it from a poem by Louise Glück called Metamorphosis, and the poem is about her father on his deathbed, but that's not really why I extracted that. It just struck me when I read that. It said something to me about how it felt to be living in a really pretty isolated part of the country and world, and for COVID to be going on, and for basically all the kinds of like social experiences that I had been used to having for so long living in cities. All of that sort of gone. While I knew that we had a baby on the way, yes. And letting go of a lot of things I needed to let go of, like a sort of obsession of outside perception of oneself, for example. One day I was in this ghost town called Tinney, and there's a really old cemetery there. And the clouds were passing over, and out there, the clouds cast these huge shadows on the mountains and hills and on the landscape, and it feels like something is floating by, almost like a whale or something. And the cows were over on the other side of the freeway, and they were doing something I'd never heard cows do before, which almost seemed like a call and response from like this pasture that was over here to another pasture where I really couldn't see those cows over there. But you would hear this echo going back and forth. And you don't think of cows as being elegant, but there is a certain elegance in the echo of the call and response as the clouds were passing by and casting their shadows, And that to me was like a ready-made metaphor of the process that I'm talking about, the process, as it were, the seasons of the soul, as you were talking about. And so as I became obsessed with this phrase from her poem, I just kept seeing it demonstrated, the living surplus. And of course, oneself is never the center of the universe, but it, of course, we're all sort of condemned to think so.
Yeah.
We can only perceive from one fixed point.
This is a poet's mind full of images, collective subconscious, collective archetypes and all of that, going like an extraordinary kaleidoscope, life, death, survival, all going round in this memory world, which is also very instantaneous. I mean, your paintings are not things which are like, there's no nostalgia in them.
Oh, that's good.
There's fragments.
Yeah.
And I actually think, talking about ruination, the lines from The Wasteland where he quotes another poet, these fragments I have shored against my ruins. You know, things that mean something in life, and you collect them and you cling on to them and you turn them into art. And that's how I see it, but you've got to come up with the last word now.
Oh, no. That's too much pressure.
Okay, well that's it. That's all for tonight, folks. I've enjoyed it, and thank you very much for sitting here, and thank you, Barbara.